Amazing grace, compassion and truth, across starship of blue light, we have come to earth to live its dream, a heaven of pure delight. We share our forces here with you, of inside wisdom and love. We live here upon this plain as we do in the ships above. There are more than 12,000 groups of 12 we have gathered from afar. We have come to fill the earth with light, to fulfill her birth as a star. We speak to you of heaven on earth. It's within if you'll just allow. Don't hesitate, your spirit calls. Wake up, the time is now.
Once upon a time, long, long ago, or maybe only yesterday, now let me see, or was it tomorrow? It is hard to keep time and space straight when you are traveling interdimensionally. But once upon some time, there was an entity named Vector 3. Vector 3 was, within the model that we use to define dimensions, an eighth dimensional entity. On the eighth dimension are what you would call group soul endeavors. Vector 3 is a composite entity, a group soul on the eighth dimension. Vector 3 is composed of 3 billion individual spirits who are actively participating in the awakening of planets in 383 different worlds in 5 local universes. How's that? Kind of an expansive thought, isn't it? Well, let's just consider the possibility that it's more than just a thought. Let's consider the possibility that Earth is one of those 383 different planets, and that there are many millions of extraterrestrials who are on this planet that are part of Vector 3. And if you are hearing this, you just might be one of them. Your job has been to come to planet Earth, become just like the indigenous life forms that are here, in this case human, and then to go to sleep, to forget who you were, to forget why you were here, so that you could become just folks. Because you are part of a planetary transition team, you need to come here to go to sleep and then wake up, and that is what you are experts at. And you have done the first part beautifully. We're very pleased with how successful you have been in this. Extraterrestrial Earth mission is a wake-up call. We come in and say, wake up, the time is now. Time for you to remember that you are here to co-create heaven on earth, that you are interdimensional masters, that you purposely came here and went to sleep, and now it's time to wake up. When we share this with some beings, they kind of sleepily rub their eyes and they say, oh, just a few more minutes, Mom. We go, that's fine, no problem, take your time. 5 more minutes is not long, we can handle that. Ready? You'll all be awake in 5 minutes and ready to live as masters here and co-create heaven on earth, right? Very good. Fortunately, we never hold people to agreements or what they say. The most important thing is to follow your spirit without hesitation. As a planetary transition team member, there is a prime directive. Follow your spirit without hesitation. Imagine with me for a moment, here you are. You are on what we would call the fifth dimension in our model, where everything is light, everything is love, everyone feels connected with all beingness. Everyone follows their spirit without hesitation. Everyone honors the sovereignty of every other being's reality. There is only kindness, gentleness, and love there. And stretched across the line between dimensions are millions of Vector 3 planetary transition team members, all like little fireflies glimmering right on the edge. All of them have agreed to come to this planet to help it in its transition. They are like midwives at a birth. And we're all ready to go. And you're looking around at your best buddies and you're going, well, once more into the breach. Here we go. We've done this on many, many different planets. And you look around at your best buddies knowing that for a period of time you may lose contact with them. You're going into the darkness. You're going into unconsciousness on purpose. And deep inside of you, you know that once again you will find each other and you will bring forth something upon this plane that has never been here before. A new age. One of light, where all beings have light bodies. One where the planet becomes a star. You recognize yourself as star seeds. Beings, many beings say star seed without even knowing what it is. It is a seed from which a star is grown. It's not just somebody who came from the stars. It is a star seed. So you are a star seed entity. And just before you all shoot off interdimensionally and show up here in little tiny babies' bodies or walk into some adult body, you give each other the old E.T. thumbs up and you say, see you on planet Earth. And you all shoot off and you come down here. And what do you think was your first experience when you landed into this dimension? What do you think was the first thing you might have said or thought? Anyone want to say the words?
What am I doing here?
Oh, goodness gracious golly gee, how did I get here and what is happening to me? Some of you instantly went into abandonment. Some of you, in your unconsciousness, went, I must be being punished. Some of you said, I changed my mind. Take me back. Ever since then, you've been shaking your fists at the skies and saying, doggone it, you come pick me up. Things don't have to be this way. But as you begin to experience more and more of what it was like on this plane, you said, okay, I'll figure out how to get out of here. Because after you said, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? Your next wish was to get out of here. And you started looking around and you said, okay, I can figure this out. I'm an interdimensional master. I know the memories are fading fast, but I can handle this. And you looked around and you said, oh, it is a karmic educational system. Those are the worst. I have to spend lifetimes pretending I'm a student, trying to earn or learn my way out of this place. What if you suddenly awakened to the reality that you are an extraterrestrial master who is trying to get more of the magnificence of your love and light into here so that we could support the transformation of this place, so that there would be no cataclysms, there would not need to be destruction. There could just be a gentle awakening. That's why we are here. We haven't lost a planet yet. We come as per the request of the planet. The planet is a conscious being. It says, hello, time for Vector 3. Rings us up on the old telly. Says, come on down, guys. Wake up. The time is now. I know. You say, I don't know how to wake up. I've been trying to wake up. While I was here as a student trying to earn and learn my way out of here, I knew if I could just become enlightened, I could get out of here. I knew if I could just find some extraterrestrials who would come down and pick me up in a ship, I could get out of here. We are not trying to get out of here. No one's getting out. We are bringing more love and more light in. So if you're willing to consider the possibility that you are an extraterrestrial master, and that you are actually interested in bringing more of you into here, there are some useful elements to kind of key into the universe to help that happen. The entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality. So whatever picture of reality you give to the universe, it must manifest it. No two people in this room have the same picture of reality. And yet the universe rearranges itself to accommodate each and every one of those realities. It is an amazing logistical thing to even consider. And yet, it takes place. It happens. So you want to know what to punch into the little computer in the sky? First of all, one of the things that is very useful is to burn in your heart with the fire of purpose. That is a wonderful thing, because if you are burning with the fire of purpose, you will do whatever it takes to co-create heaven on earth, to awaken to the master that you are. If you're not yet burning, then don't worry about the rest of the things that we are going to say. It is useful to be burning with the fire of purpose first. More than anything else, you want to co-create heaven on earth with other masters. Feels great, feels wonderful.
Hello.
Hello, Zentron.
Hello, everyone.
Just popped in to say hello?
Yes, you know we love to talk about this picture of reality stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Tell them some of the good stuff about it.
Well, you know, one of the major elements of your picture of reality is your identity.
Yes. Who do you
are
think
you?
you are anyway?
Yes, who are you
Yes.
all?
I bet they're not who they think they are.
If you could see what we see. Such magnificent spirits you are.
Well, once they are hooked up to their multidimensional minds,
Yes.
then they can learn to see interdimensionally.
It is helpful. They get
Yes.
a sense of, they're not these little puny bodies and identities that they've given themselves so far. You are magnificent. The amount of veiling that it takes to create the illusion that you are just this body here, it is amazing, absolutely amazing, for you are so vast. So far, most of you have been telling the universe that your identity is that of a struggling human, a student, trying to earn or learn your way out of this place. Sound familiar? How do I do it? Let me just finish up all my comic stuff so that I can become enlightened and get on with it.
And in the process, you are continuously turning to outside authority to tell you what's right.
What is right, anyway?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but
I just work here.
my spirit.
So there are three basic elements to your picture of reality. One is your identity, one is the context within which you live your existence, and the other one is the way that you measure reality. Okay, do the next one.
Life context. Let's see. What life context are you communicating to the universe? Probably that goes along with the student, huh? Whenever an experience comes along in your life, what is the question that you usually ask about it? What am I supposed to learn from this, right?
How would a master treat that same experience?
Well, let me see. We think a master would ask a very different question of experiences. A master might just ask, how does this contribute to the co-creation of heaven on earth? If it does, I'll use it. If it doesn't, forget it. I don't have time. I've got to move on to the next experience.
Masters are here to co-create heaven on earth. Students are here to earn or learn their way out of here. Which would you prefer? Being a master or a student? Having the life context of continuously having to learn from every experience, or having the life context of using all of your consciousness and energy to co-create heaven on earth? For those of you who really like to learn, it is important to recognize that all life, as it unfolds back to the source, learns. But what we are suggesting is that maybe education is no longer the goal, and enlightenment is no longer the goal. In the process of living as a master here and co-creating heaven on earth, as the universe rearranges itself to accommodate you and manifests more of the master that you are on other dimensions onto this plane, and manifests more of heaven on earth around you, you will find that education will be wondrous and enlightenment will take place, but they will be side benefits,
The berries.
not the goal. All beings on this planet will be enlightened as the co-creation of heaven on earth takes place. For those of you who still have really strong beliefs about religion and about who you are, consider the possibility that whether you are an extraterrestrial or not, we all come from the same source. What we are sharing does not deny any of your beliefs. It is inclusive of all beings, in all beliefs, on all levels. You can exclude us because your picture of reality cannot accommodate who we are. We cannot exclude you. We are inclusive of all life forms on this planet and on others. Our mission is a mission of love. Feel that within you. You are here to love others. The more that you share the extraterrestrial master that you are onto this plane, the more you will find your humanity exalted. The more you will find all the things that religions have taught on this plane will just become second nature for you. You will be a divine entity. But you know, to live here as a master, you've got to start somewhere. The difficult part of it is you have to start with no evidence that it is real. You have to at some point just start proclaiming that you're a master. You know how earth masters became masters? They had a revelation one day. They woke up and they went, shit, I'm a master. The universe then began to rearrange itself to accommodate them. So have a revelation already. So, begin to proclaim that you are a master. That is one step. Begin to shift your life context by shifting the questions that you ask of your experiences. Ask, how does this contribute to the co-creation of heaven on earth? Instead of, what am I supposed to learn from this? And then last but not least, shift your way of measuring reality. From the third dimension, the way of measuring reality is beliefs and experiences. From the fourth dimension, the way of measuring reality is your feelings, your intuition, your ability to read subtle energies. From the fifth dimension, which is where we come from as masters to this plane, and what we are bringing to this plane, which you would call it heaven, because everyone there is in love and follows spirit. On the fifth dimension, the way that you measure reality is things are real because you say so. It is cut and dried, plain and simple. Whatever you say is reality, the universe will instantly manifest there. There's a bit of a time lag when you're here on the third dimension, we've noticed. But on the fifth dimension, it is manifested instantly.
What if you were to just sit down and write out what your vision, what your version of heaven on earth was, and then you began to use that as your standard of measurement as to what was real, so that you could go into your life, and as you came upon experiences or situations, if it matched your vision of heaven on earth, you go, yep, that's real. All right, universe, bring me more of that stuff. And the things that didn't, well, just manifested illusions, no big deal. So what? But wow, this stuff that matches my vision of heaven on earth, that is real. And that is what I am going to base my actions on.
While you are a student, you were taught to solve problems. That means you were continuously fascinated with what you didn't want and what wasn't working. The universe observes what you are fascinated with in order to know what to bring you more of. So if you are fascinated with problems, with what's not working and what you don't want, you'll just end up with more of it. What if you all instantaneously became so completely fascinated with your picture of heaven on earth that that was all you cared about, and the fire burned in your heart, and you said, that's all I want to do. I want to live here as a master. I want to co-create heaven on earth. That's it. I don't care about anything else. What do you think would happen in your existence if you took a radical shift in identity, a radical shift in way of contextualizing your reality, and a radical shift in measuring reality? The universe would have no choice but to give you a radically different reality. After you have done all of that, then all you have to do is one thing: follow your spirit without hesitation. That is a very important point. Some people feel like they have to take an axe and a shovel to their reality. The universe will rearrange itself to accommodate your picture of reality. You don't have to start throwing people and things out. It will happen naturally. It will happen organically. It will just flow. It will just happen as you fiercely hold to your vision. You are all here to serve as we are. We are honored to be in your presence. Thank you all for the gift that you have given. Hello, my name is Savizar.
And I'm Solara.
And we are extraterrestrial walk-ins. We are not the original inhabitants of these bodies, and we're not originally from this planet. We are extraterrestrial masters, and we have come here to co-create heaven on earth with other masters. And one of the things that we're going to do right now is we're going to open it up to the audience here and answer questions so that we can satisfy your curiosity. You have a question?
Yes, I do. First, I want to thank you for this bizarre performance I've just been witnessing. I'd like to know a little bit about the sounds. What are they? What are they supposed to represent?
Well, part of to get an understanding of it, you have to almost think multidimensionally, because we are multidimensional entities, and who we are on the fifth dimension are extraterrestrial masters. Who we are on the third dimension are apparently human here. The sounds actually are as accurate as we can get to the language that we use telepathically on the other dimensions. But here it has to be represented in vocal sounds. But there's an awful lot of the sound that cannot be heard. It's beyond the range of the human ear here. There's also a lot of colors that come with the sounds that are beyond the range of the eye here, and a lot of energies from other dimensions. So when we're just doing sounds here, we are actually very deeply communicating to the other spirits that are within the range of that sound. And we're also releasing lifetimes worth of karma often with those tones. So if you just listen to them, it's going to have a very powerful impact on your life.
It is a universal language, and it speaks directly to the spirit, and it speaks directly to the heart, and kind of bypasses the linear thinking mind.
Some of the tones sounded to me somewhat like dolphins or whales. At least that was the image that came in my mind. Is that accurate? Is there something about dolphins or something here?
There are some of the other extraterrestrial species here on the planet at this time. The sounds are very similar. As I said a minute ago, it is a universal language.
They chose forms to exist on this planet where they could actually remain a lot closer to who they are on the other dimensions and still be here. And in doing that, they can actually put a lot of love energy into the planet and be very supportive to the mutational process that's taking place here. Unfortunately, they haven't been treated too kindly by the humans that are here. But then, you know, what extraterrestrial has?
One last question. You say that we are very probably extraterrestrial masters. How are we going to know that?
Well, the only way that you're going to know is by going inside and finding out for yourself. When we do initiations now, we used to do intensives and now we do initiations. The initiations often, in them, we take people up into the other dimensions in consciousness. We have certain things that we do tonally where we open up doorways between dimensions, and people actually can go and have a direct experience of who they are on the other dimensions. And many beings come back and report that they actually are on a spaceship and they actually are at certain types of controls and doing certain things. So it's actually more powerful if you have an experience of your own. Obviously, in this context, it's not easy to generate that. But there are ways where you can find out. For some people, they've always known they were extraterrestrials. They just never had a place where they could go and talk about it and have it be okay. You know.
Okay. One last thing. I had an experience with you several weeks ago, and subsequently I've had a lot of emotion coming up in my life, which has not been my pattern at all. For instance, bursting into tears, things of that nature when I was in a business meeting. Is this part of what we get to expect?
It's completely individual. What I know is that what people tend to repress a lot tends to, because what is happening is we're moving away from mastery of limitation and we're moving into mastery of divine expression. And so people in the process sometimes surprise themselves by how expressive they become. So you may by nature be a very emotional being who has actually in the past spent a lot of time repressing it. And now it's becoming more difficult to repress and more natural to express.
The more you begin to bring through who you are on the other dimensions into this dimension through here, the more authentic you will find yourself becoming, the more honestly genuine as to who you are and how you feel and what you want to say and what kind of a person you are.
We find that we become more childlike and spontaneous. It's like when you're sad, you cry. When you're angry, you express the anger. When you're sad, you know, when you're afraid, you You know, it's just very much like children. It's very spontaneous, it's very in the moment, and then it's over. When you repress emotions, that's when they become a major part of your life and begin to control your existence. But if you just allow them expression, they don't.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. This is fun. Next question.
Yeah, you've talked about following your spirit without hesitation, and I'm having a hard time with that. I actually have a lot of questions. One of them is that I have a hard time knowing what's my spirit trying to tell me to do something versus my ego or my personality or what I think I need to do to survive. Like right now I'm without a job and I'm looking for regular engineering work, and if I think about following my spirit without hesitation, I feel like my spirit might want me to do more things like this and maybe become a spiritual teacher or live more simply and kind of get into the idea of co-creating heaven on earth. And when I think about that, I think, well, gee, how am I going to do that? Am I going to have to sell my house and use that money? And so it generates a lot of fear. I get scared about what's going to happen to me and am I going to survive and all that stuff. So,
does anybody find that unusual?
Thank you, everybody.
It's not an unusual thing. That's why I say it's real useful to burn with the fire of purpose. Because if you're lit and you're going, I'm going to co-create heaven on earth, and I don't care what it takes, and I don't care, you know, what I've got to go through to get there, then when fears come up, they seem unimportant. If you're not burning with the fire of purpose, but you're doing it because somebody suggested it to you and it sounded like a good idea, then you're still following outside authority, and your reason for doing it's not big enough. If your reason for doing anything is big enough, no matter how much insecurity and fear and how much of your karmic patterning comes up in your way, you're going to blow right through it. Because your reason for doing something is bigger than anything that can come up inside of you that would say stop. But if your reason for doing it isn't big enough, then something can come up inside of you that's bigger than your reason for doing it, and you'll stop.
Yeah, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So does that mean that I'm not quite yet ready to make that transition? Or is it just that I'm resisting and I need to somehow let go of that?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
So in other words, I just live with it.
Yeah, that's what everybody does, is you are mutating. You're in a process of mutating, and you get to deal with the ecstasies of having more light flow through you and more joy and having more beautiful, loving interactions with people in your life, and you get to deal with the inconveniences of your old life falling apart before the new one comes together. You know, it's like you're a world in transition within yourself. The old world is dying within you. And right now, the old world is crying out, save me, save me, save me. You know,
Yeah, that's
and the
true.
new world is calling you. And you're actually drawn to the new world. You say, hey, that'd be great if, but.
Yeah, there's a big part of me that wants to know that it's going to be okay.
Well, see, the personality got its security from being a servant to form. If you followed the rules in the society as it was, you got a payoff. If you did things right, by the numbers, you got a payoff. But what's happening now is you're being asked to follow your spirit without hesitation instead of the rules or the forms or your ideals. That's a big step to take. You're actually shifting completely what you're a servant of. So you used to get security from thinking you knew what was going on in your life. Now you're having to shift where you get the security from hoping that spirit knows what it's doing.
Yeah,
Right.
what's happening for a lot
That's
of
a good
people
one.
right now is that their resources are drying up. And until they begin to follow their spirit and do what they came here to do, what their divine work is, spirit isn't going to support them.
Do you think there's a way?
So that can be kind of scary.
Is there a way we can find out and be clear in ourselves what that purpose is? I mean, we each must have one.
Sure. I'll tell you, if you knew what your essence was, Your purpose, very simply, is to share that essence in whatever way Spirit chooses to share it in the moment. It's like most people think of their purpose as like a job description. You know, it's like, my job is to speak to 2,000 people in an auditorium and save their souls. You know, sorry. I mean, that might be somebody's job, but I don't think it's everybody's job. You know, it's like all our jobs are different. All our jobs are designed around our natures and our essences, and they're absolutely perfect for us. The things that you do the best, the things that are so natural for you that they're just like breathing, are the things that you're going to be rewarded for in the future. And they're the things that you would probably last take into consideration right now as worthy of being your work in the world.
Yeah, I have to say I'm beginning to get that idea of sharing my essence with people, and whenever I do, it's miraculous what happens. It's really neat.
Yeah.
Like healing people and just creating nice energy that I didn't seem to do before.
You want me to tell you, I mean, you want to be with the wave of the future, with the absolute best job that you could possibly get, that's going to be the hottest thing in the next 10 years on this planet?
Yeah.
Okay. Mutational services. If you can provide interdimensional services from the master that you are in other dimensions to beings who are mutating, you will have all the resources that you need to do anything that your spirit wants to do on this planet. Because for the next 10 years, that's going to be the hottest thing going, is mutational services. Because everybody on this planet is mutating. Some of them are more conscious of it than others, but everybody's doing it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yes, open a transmutation center.
Yeah, that's exactly the same kind of question I want to talk about. I was trained in microbiology and I work in electronics now. And when you talk about mutation, I hear adaptation, which is a change of behavior, but I think you really do mean mutation, which is, in my training, a change in DNA, a change in heredity.
Absolutely.
Could you say a little bit more about that, please?
Probably not. Because I'm not a scientist. I don't have a scientific understanding of it. Basically, the way we operate is whatever information we need at any given point in time is given to us. And we operate pretty much without reasons. We don't know why Spirit reveals certain types of information to us at certain times and doesn't reveal it to us at other times. We just go with whatever Spirit gives us. And what Spirit is saying to us right now is that the DNA codes in the human bodies are mutating. And that anybody on this plane who is in a body who thinks they have a choice about it is mistaken. It's happening in every body on the planet. Some people are committing suicide because they can't handle it. Some people are irritated and fighting with each other. Some people are shooting each other. All kinds of weird stuff is happening because people are mutating, and nobody is talking about it. Nobody's explaining it to anybody. It's happening. It's very, very powerful. And it's not necessarily easy or comfortable if you don't have linear thinking models to describe it. For example, if you're operating as a human and you start mutating and you try to stay as a human, you try to go back to your old life, your old way of thinking and your old way of being and your old way of identifying yourself, it's going to be very painful and difficult for you because you can't do it. It won't work. But if you consider the possibility that maybe you're an interdimensional master, well, that's the direction the mutation is going. If you begin to identify yourself as a master here to co-create heaven on earth, then what you're doing is you're helping the mutation. You're moving in the direction that the mutation is moving. And in that, you're going to find your way easier in life. Nobody's going to be able to avoid the old world falling apart. Some people are going to be smart and do it themselves first before the whole thing goes. They're the ones that are going to be fine when it happens. Other people, it's going to be very traumatic when the civilization collapses.
what I hear is that then my first response would be, what's happening to me? How am I going to survive? How will I keep my word, pay my bills, and keep my responsibilities?
Your spirit is infinitely more responsible than any personality ever could be.
Yeah.
Your spirit will make sure your bills get paid. It's not flaky.
Yeah.
Spirits aren't flaky. Personalities are flaky.
One of the observations I had in my scientific days was that spiritual people were all flaky.
Right.
So that's a belief system now that I need to give up, because there's a distrust in me of spirit, because I think that the people who are flaky, whom I call spiritualists, were being guided by spirit somehow. It looks to me like there's more of personality going on.
Actually, I think most of the people that you saw that you would have considered flaky spiritual people actually were idealists who weren't very much in touch with universal principles. What you'll find is the basic philosophy that we share with people is incredibly practical. It's not down to earth, but it's incredibly practical. It's very pragmatic. It's usable. Anybody can begin to use the principle that the universe rearranges itself to accommodate their picture reality and can instantaneously start changing their lives based on that principle. If you see a person who bases their life on universal principle, they're solid as a rock in everything that they do. Mm-hmm. A person who bases their lives on half-truths or things that aren't principles in the universe, everything that they try to build falls apart. And those people who have been idealistic, metaphysical, and spiritual have given the name spiritual flaky. But we're not talking about that at all. We're talking about a mutation that's taking place. If you use the universal principles, you will have practical, step-by-step revelations from your own spirit about what you're supposed to do. The only thing you're not going to get is the whole picture ahead of time. All the ways that people used to get security aren't available anymore, and they have to shift their position on those things, or deal with the inconvenience and discomfort. I mean, these personalities here, we're the third walk-ins in these bodies. Imagine what these personalities go through. I mean, you're just looking at a life falling apart and a new life emerging. It happens on a regular basis here, these. It's like, who am I this week? It's powerful.
Hi.
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 I'm different than who I was when I saw you last.
Oh my God, another walk-in.
Another one.
Can I stop you for a moment?
Yes.
One of the funniest things that we heard recently was somebody said that they didn't want to come to one of our events because they didn't want to have to be a walk-in. And we went, wait a minute. Very few of the extraterrestrials on the planet are walk-ins. And if you were going to have a walk-in experience, wouldn't it be wonderful to have it with somebody who knew what was going on and could help you with it? And having a walk-in experience has nothing to do with us.
We don't force people to leave their body.
I mean, it's a spiritual agreement between you and the spirit that was previously in that body. Yeah. And it's just pretty wise to be around people who can explain it to you.
I'm very grateful for that, to be, to have met you and had the experience and had some understanding of it the week before it happened. It certainly made the process easier.
Yeah.
And another lady who was in the same group with me, it's like we did it together, and a tape recorder. It's really quite funny.
Yeah.
Because we recorded all of our feelings and the body experiences and everything that was going on as it was happening, and came up like, but we haven't got our good clothes on. We're not dressed for this. I mean, silly kinds of things. We didn't know how to deal with it. We had no ritual for it.
The personality is conscious while it's happening, if
Yes.
it's a conscious walk-in experience, which yours was. And, the personality can be doing all kinds of stuff while this process is going on.
Well, it was definitely chattering away. And I'm also very grateful for my beloved who now greets me, "Who are you?" instead of, "How are you?" I guess that's signs of the time.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'm apparently still in this process that one essence is coming in and the other is still going. It's not complete yet. So it's very interesting watching what the body does with that.
The other spirit actually leaves at the time of the walk-in. And often if you're around other people who still think you're the other person or still want you to be the other person, what they do is they project their sense of the other person on you, and it becomes like a ghost image. You get a double image, and it gets kind of schizophrenic.
So the one is actually gone and the new entity is all the way in? Is that
The
what
new
I'm hearing?
entity is basically in, and there's still projections from people around you that you're dealing with, that at times when you're around those projections, it feels like the old spirit's back.
And you're probably still in the process of dismantling dysfunctional aspects of the personality that were created with the other spirit being in there. So that also gives you a sense of the illusion that the other spirit is still there. It's really just dysfunctional aspects of the personality.
You can't run around with two spirits in the body like that. It doesn't work.
Are the one that left and the one that's in communication?
I don't know.
You know better than we do about that. There's no rules. There's no way that it is about a walk-in experience. There have been 3 walk-in experiences that this personality and body have had, and they've all been quite different. There are some common themes, one of which he just told you about the projections of others, things that we've noticed that have happened through all of them. But as far as the actual circumstances and communication between the spirits and physical sensations, stuff like that, there's no rules about it.
It's very powerful, though.
Yeah,
Afterwards, I'd be glad to share some energy and just help you be more comfortable in there.
I'm very pleased, I think.
The personality never quite knows whether it should be happy or not.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
later on usually that the personality finally gets a sense of that there's actually value in it for it.
One of the main things that we have found to be most helpful, especially in the beginning, is being very conscious of your languaging. And when referring to the previous inhabitants' experiences and memories and things like that, to be very specific about that and separate you and your experiences and what is happening for you from that. In speaking of something that happened before I was in here, I say I can access the memory or the body experience this, or I'm just very careful about the languaging, because it helps that alignment in there.
Yeah. So what we want to know is if you could tell us a little bit about what happens when people spend time with you in an initiation and what that looks like.
Well, what it looks like is there's some things that are consistent about it. One is that there's usually 15 to 20 people there sitting there with us. The other one is that we all sit in a circle. The other one is that there's usually channeled entities that come through us. And that's it. That's all that's consistent about it. Every one of the initiations are very, very different. They're radically different because they're all channeled from spirit for the beings that are there. And the end result, I think, of most of the intensives or the initiations is people actually come more fully into being who they are, come more fully into knowing why they're here, come more fully into risking living in heaven on earth, risking following their spirits without hesitation. And they get a tremendous amount of support and a tremendous amount of love for just who they are. And to me, I think that is so important in these times. There's a lot of technology that is channeled through from other dimensions, a lot of sounds, a lot of energies that it's just, you can't really describe them. You kind of have to be there and experiencing them, but they're pretty incredible.
Yeah, one of the main things that happens beyond all the talking and chatting that's done between us and the people that are there with us is that energetically the bodies are being trained to handle more light at a cellular level.
The mutation is being supported at a deeper level.
Yeah. And all the other stuff is icing on the cake. Many different things get a chance to occur while we spend time with each other. But that's the main thing that we offer, is a loving, supportive environment for following your spirit.
I just got the high sign. We got to run. So we love you guys. Enjoy the co-creation of heaven on earth, and we'll see you again. One of the most difficult things for spiritual teachers on this plane and gurus is they end up conforming so powerfully to their followers' pictures of reality that they end up following their followers. There's a lot of information that's coming still in a way that is appealing to people who are still open to outside authority telling them what's real and what's important and what's happening. We don't encourage that. We don't encourage that anybody uses what we say as absolute truth or the way that it is. We're just sharing our truth, and we're sharing what we see, and we're sharing what's real for us and what's true for us. What other people do with it is up to them.
Yeah, if it rings true for you, it's your truth, no matter what anybody else says.